we're going to be speaking of sports, and when we talk about sports, for us it's either adventure, mishap, or maybe an occasional success. So, let's start. Cindy, I have to ask you, what was the first sport that you observed as a spectator?
Oh, wow. I was very young, maybe 6 or 7, and my father loved to watch boxing on TV. So he would have me sit next to him to watch boxing. It scared me. I hated it, but he loved it so much I would watch and pretend I liked it.
Well, you watched boxing, but I was a participant in that sport. This little small frame guy, and at 10 years old, even smaller, took up Golden Gloves boxing. I had one tournament, and I thought I won, but the guy's grandfather was the opponent's grandfather was the referee, so he ended up winning. But I thought I was ripped.
So why can I not picture you boxing at age 10?
Well, the gloves were bigger than me.
So, what sport did you watch at first?
Well, there were two, actually. One was my father bowling. Now, you would think that's kind of a spectator sport that would be boring. My dad could not let go of the ball, and he went down the alley along with the ball. I swear it was a 3-10 split. But the other sport that I observed as a kid was baseball at Crosley Field, the Reds. We always sat behind that post, so you could never see the full game, but that was my thrill, the Reds.
Well, you know my thrill with the Reds.
Wow.
You watched from a distance at Crosley Field, 1979. We had just met, and not too much before, and I got to sit in what they called the press box.
Dugout.
The dugout.
She knows so much about baseball.
Yes, my friend, who had been a sports photographer with Sports Illustrated, gave me a camera, gave me a press pass, had me sit in the dugout, pretend that I was taking pictures of the game. I didn't know what I was doing, but there I was, right on the field at a Reds game.
And I was in the last row of the Red seats, the nosebleed section, so far away my binoculars barely picked you up. But after that game, I think I proposed.
So let's see, did we ever play baseball or softball?
Well, I did. I played Little League sports in Cincinnati, and my best game was I was playing left field. A ball was hit between left and center. The center fielder, Tommy, and I were aiming for the ball. We crisscrossed, but neither of us I thought we didn't catch the ball. And Tommy said, "Look in your glove." And behold, there was the ball. I was so excited my parents could see this. They weren't there.
Oh.
How about you?
That was your claim to fame? It was your best sports capture ever?
As an 11-year-old, yeah.
Well, let's see. I guess I was on a softball team in graduate school. Ricky's Raiders. One of the professors was Dr. Ricky. And we got shirts. I remember we ordered shirts and we got to pick our numbers. And I picked number 1 for my shirt. And funny thing is, I don't ever remember playing softball, but I remember having the shirt and I remember drinking a lot after the games.
So you got the most important part of softball.
But you know that I really was never any good at sports. I mean, I was always the last kid picked with pickup games in the neighborhood around the beach. And I had some real sports disasters. I guess my first was cheerleading. I desperately wanted to be a cheerleader in high school, and every year I tried out, and every year I was the first one cut. And my senior year, Miss Chase, the women's gym teacher, took me aside and says, "Cindy, you don't want to try out for cheerleading again." But I tried out anyway, and I was the first one cut.
Nevertheless, she persisted.
Though I did play varsity field hockey for 2 years, and I was on the offense, left wing, but I don't ever remember scoring a goal. And then the absolute worst, this was scary. College, Bridgewater State College had a requirement that you had to pass swimming before you graduated. I took it twice, I flunked it twice. It's my senior year now. I'm almost ready to graduate, magna cum laude. I'm planning to go to graduate school. Surely they're not going to keep me from graduating because I can't swim. They created a special class called pre-beginners. Me and a lady like 70 years old. They let me do the elementary backstroke down the pool and back near the side so I could grab the side of the pool if I got scared. And I think I did a few times, and I passed swimming and I got my degree.
The elementary backstroke, huh?
Right.
Well, I too had a disaster swimming, but it happened in Cayman. You might remember. I took up a resort diving class so that I could dive into the ocean. We went out on the boat, and we were given these instructions. Have a good time, and whatever you do, don't take out your regulator. I go down about 11, 12 feet, and all of a sudden the world started spinning around. I couldn't tell up from down, left from right, and I did what I wasn't supposed to do. I ripped out the regulator, and bubbles started floating to the surface. And what did you see?
I was on the back of the boat, and I saw you having trouble, and I'm screaming to the guys driving the boat, "Go get my husband, he's drowning!" And it was pretty scary.
Yeah, it was, but I swear the guy that saved my life was like a black Mark Spitz. He dove into the water, no equipment, went down 12 feet, picked me up, and then I'm alive.
Right. Glad about that. So, football. You taught me everything I needed to know about football because, my high school didn't have a football team, my college didn't have a football team. So, you were the one who got me involved in football.
And how did that work out?
Well, I remember one time we were watching a game on TV with some friends, and I had been taught how to cheer for football, and I scream at the TV, "Pump up the offense, the defense better score."
And that led to 10 years of Bengals season tickets, which was another disaster. But if I remember correctly, that was so stressful for me that I took up racquetball. Now, I'm not going to tell every story about racquetball, but we had just started dating, and I was living in Mount Adams, this really nice area of Cincinnati next to downtown. I was renting from a guy that had this beautiful apartment. I was in the basement. So I couldn't afford rent every month. So one month I suggested, could we play racquetball for rent? We did, and I went a whole month without having to pay that rent, which allowed me to pay rent in the future. Although I wish I could play racquetball for rent every month.
It's too bad you couldn't have done that every month. You could have lived rent-free for years.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Then there's golf. Now, we both played golf. You at a young age, right?
Yeah. Let's see, I've been playing golf for 60 years.
Wow.
I started when I was 12.
Are you any good?
Well, let's just say that when I play golf, it's a disaster. Almost every time, but there was one special disaster. We're in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm playing at this golf course, and I hit a great drive, and when second shot, it looked like it was going to hit the green, but it fell short. The green was raised. It fell into this dark green area. I go to look for it, but I parked the cart on top of this hill that led down to that green area. So I search for the ball. I find it. I get so excited. I head back to the cart. The cart is heading down the hill. I forgot to put on the brake. I know James Bond movies, so I jumped on that cart and slammed on the brake, but I missed. I hit the gas pedal. The clubs, the cart, and me all went into that lake.
Wow, that's a pretty bad golf disaster. Well, it's funny. I had never had any interest in golf. And then one year from Mother's Day, maybe 1994, 95, what do you give me as a present for Mother's Day but a set of golf clubs? I had never expressed any interest in golf. I'd never asked for golf clubs, but I got the golf clubs, and we played some. I took lessons. We played with the kids. I played with some women friends. And speaking of golf, I got a hole-in-one.
Yes, and you didn't even know it was a big deal. People had to tell you it was a big deal. And how many drinks did you buy in the clubhouse?
I don't know that the clubhouse even sold drinks, but I got a hole-in-one.
You don't have to rub it in.
Have you ever had a hole-in-one?
I've gotten this close.
You've had your golf cart in the lake in one.
That's true. Just one gas pedal. Well, folks, as you can see, we've had a wonderful life of adventures and mishaps, and we've been good sports to each other, and we've been good sports in our lives together. And we want to thank you for listening to Speaking of Sports, because you're in love with the Finks, as we are. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.